How did this health tech brand manage to create a cult following that grew their market value from $0 to $10 billion in less than a decade? The company I'm talking about is Oura, the manufacturer of the one ring that rules the wearable market. They managed to create a cult-like customer base that doubled their revenue 6 years in a row. So I wanted to know what strategies fueled this success. So I watched every interview, listened to every podcast, and read every article I could find about their story. And what I discovered was brilliant. Their success basically comes down to 7 key strategies. Make sure to watch until the end because every single strategy is equally important. Now let's start with the first strategy that looks like this. Nowadays, Oura has positioned itself not only as a wearable or a health app, but as a daily health operating system. But this wasn't always the case. Their product is a sleep and recovery focused wearable that didn't exist before they entered the market. Most devices at the time focused on performance tracking and were mainly used during activities. Being so different caused problems with investors and users didn't really know where to place them.
I would say majority of investors and basically all the people, they say that, what are you doing?
From the outside, it seemed like Oura went against what everyone else was doing and ignored what the market demanded. But what Oura did was actually quite the opposite. And the single number one key to being successful in the health and wellness industry. Oura's founder knew that you have to go far above and beyond in understanding your target audience.
You really have to dig deep into the understanding that what your target audience, and especially your optimal target audience, what they really need. They cannot communicate it to you. You have to find it out yourself.
Customers don't know what they want because they only know what they already know. It's the same as if you would have asked people in the 19th century what their vision of better transportation is. They probably would have liked faster horses, but they wouldn't have thought of a car. So Oura knew that the key to better performance, health, and well-being isn't in activity, but through sleep and recovery. So they built something that helps a person to be more aware of themselves and shows them the effects that their daily habits have on their body. And this is exactly how not following what everyone else is doing and focusing on their customers' needs first created their big win over the whole market. Because if you concentrate on bringing high value, you don't need to worry about competition. So key strategy number 1 is deeply understanding your audience and their needs far beyond their own understanding. And it got even better because the data they collected showed them a customer profile that benefited the most from Oura and that they weren't focusing on before. And shifting to this audience actually doubled their business in only a short period of time. So let's see what the strategy was. By the time Oura launched, wearables were basically a fitness thing. And basically all wearables were focused on a male customer profile. Maybe there were some brands that offered pink designs, but nothing that was technically tuned to women's bodies and health. But the problem Oura identified was rooted much deeper than just fitness accessories. Because did you know that women have been historically left out of healthcare research, even though women make up half the world's population? From a business perspective, this is a massive wasted opportunity. Women also account for 80% of consumer buying decisions in the healthcare industry. However, women's health has been considered a niche market and a mere subset of healthcare. And since Oura's mission is to give everybody a voice, they saw a big opportunity in shifting their main focus to women to help them understand their bodies better. For example, body temperature became a main focus point of the product since it's a core indicator of the menstrual cycle. Oura's insights help position the ring as a partner throughout all the important phases of a woman's life that directly link to their cycle, from the teenage years until the older age. Knowing your body temperature helps young women prevent pregnancy when they don't want children, get pregnant later, and understand their body throughout pregnancy and menopause. So key strategy number 2 of Oura's success was focusing on women as their number 1 customer. Seeing that they could provide such a value over the course of a customer's entire life opened their eyes to strategy number 3. Which would tackle one of Oura's biggest business challenges, but also would be considered Oura's most controversial decision. Up until this point, Aura faced financial sustainability challenges with their hardware-only business model. They only sold 150,000 rings over 5 years while burning through $148 million in funding. The fundamental problem was clear. With customers making only a one-time purchase, $299, with costs of around $230 per unit, Aura only made a gross profit of around $70 with each ring. Since the rings were designed to last years, there were no repeat purchases to justify such high customer acquisition costs. The company was not profitable and needed a sustainable revenue solution. This led them to their most controversial decision, moving to a subscription model with the Gen 3 ring. The challenge was tough. To execute this pivot without alienating their early customers who helped make Aura successful. When Gen 3 was announced in October 2021, Aura chose to rip off the band-aid and fully commit. All new Gen 3 rings would need a membership for full features. They decided on a limited time upgrade to please existing users. Any Gen 2 owner who upgraded within about a month would get a free lifetime membership. Even though the outrage was big in the beginning, after a while the rage calmed down, and considering the outcome, rapid growth and profitability, it's safe to say the tough choice was ultimately the right one. The results were dramatic. Aura's revenue jumped from barely growing at 10% in 2022 to 79% in 2023 and another 120% in 2024. And by late 2024, Aura reported being operationally profitable. Subscriptions now make up 20% of Aura's revenue with 80% gross margins, which boosted their company value from around $1 billion to $5.2 billion. But this new model created a new challenge. Every month, users can cancel their subscription. This makes customer retention absolutely critical. Let's look at the next strategy that shows how Aura keeps the retention high. A subscription model requires your company to earn your customers' loyalty month to month. If you don't deliver enough value or they think the price is too high, they don't stay with you. In order to create this value, Aura did not position themselves as a one-off ring purchase or another health app, but as a way of life that makes health a daily practice. They want to make you the CEO of your own health journey. And just like the CEO would pay for a good CRM to run its company at its best, Aura delivers you data so you can make your best health decisions. But instead of bonuses and dividends, the payment you get is, to put it in Aura's own words, live a long life better. And that's the best marketing. They've created such a great user experience, so people stay subscribed because they learn so much about themselves over time. And this is exactly what creates massive retention rates like 88%, which is far above the industry standard of 25%. So now let's look at strategy number 5, where we show how Aura managed to grow their user base beyond just health-conscious biohackers. Since the beginning, they were only selling direct-to-consumer on their website, so no one would pass by their store or see it as a suggestion while they're shopping online. If you're into biohacking and health, sooner or later you might land on Aura's website. But people who aren't didn't have any touchpoints with the brand. This limited distribution became dangerous when established health and fitness brands started launching their own wearables with existing retail presence. Competitors were already in Best Buy, Target, and Amazon, while Aura remained invisible to mainstream consumers. So what Aura did to overcome this challenge was to create partnerships in 5 different areas. So let's look at the 5 partnerships one by one. The NBA partnership during COVID was Aura's defining moment in sports. The league purchased 2,000 rings for early COVID detection, with Aura detecting symptoms 76% of the time before users felt sick. This validation quickly led to WNBA, NASCAR, and UFC partnerships in 2020, transforming Aura from a niche biohacker gadget to a professional-grade health tool for athletes. Now number 2, luxury and fashion. Beyond sports credibility, Aura explored luxury positioning through a collaboration with Gucci in 2022. The Gucci Aura ring was priced at $950, nearly triple the standard price. Even though the price was 3 times higher, it flew off the shelves. This strategic partnership proved that there's a premium market segment for their product. And number 3, retail partnerships. To reach mainstream consumers beyond their direct-to-consumer website, Aura launched retail partnerships with Best Buy, Amazon, and Target in 2023. This multi-channel expansion gave them the crucial shelf visibility to consumers who wouldn't look for Aura online. even though it meant accepting lower margins. And partnership number 4 is health and medical partnerships. To be seen as a sophisticated health solution, Aura pursued integrations and strategic partnerships with FDA-approved medical device companies, including the Natural Cycles fertility tracker and Dexcom's glucose monitoring devices. By 2023, they had integrations with over 300 organizations in the health sector, which positioned Aura as a central platform in a health ecosystem. And partnership number 5 is enterprise and institutional partnerships. And here are the 3 deals that made the biggest difference. A major breakthrough came when Aura gained HSA and FSA eligibility, which allowed employees to purchase rings with pre-tax dollars. The company also launched Aura for Business, where enterprise companies can buy their rings in bulk for a discount. Finally, targeting large organizations, Aura secured a $96 million military contract in 2024 to supply rings and data services for health monitoring to the US military. Each of these partnerships solved a specific growth challenge Aura was facing: credibility, distribution, and scale. These strategic partnerships helped their brand to go from a niche biohacker gadget to having a seat at the table in sports, retail, and medicine. So now let's have a look at the genius campaign that positioned them as a bold, disruptive brand in wearable health tech. Aura's mission is to give everybody a voice. But if we look at the health and wellness industry over the last decades, we see that some voices have been louder than others. Traditionally, the marketing space has almost exclusively been plastered with young, healthy, and athletic models. As a result, we as a culture have been conditioned to escape the reality of aging, and traditional marketing sold us the dream of staying young forever. But the truth is that aging is inevitable and that getting older is a gift. And this is exactly the message behind Aura's brilliant campaign, which they started in May 2025. Give Us the Finger shares a vision of health and fitness that embraces the aspirational side of aging instead of the anxiety over it. This was a big rebellious statement against outdated ideas of what health should look like. Their campaign tagline is, "If you care enough to grow old, give us the finger." And for this campaign, they weren't looking for polished actors. Instead, they cast a diverse group of real people who looked like they had lived a long, joyful life and still live it to the fullest. And in the ad, you see them wearing the Aura ring while playing the piano, climbing a mountain, or dancing as the last one standing at the end of a party while the rest had already left or fallen asleep. This campaign reflects exactly what Aura stands for: that wellness is a daily practice, and longevity is not just about the length of your life, it's about how healthy and happy you are at all stages of your life. Now let's look at the last strategy that fueled Aura's success, which might surprise you. Because even though Aura runs such brilliant and successful campaigns, their marketing efforts are not even the reason for half of their sales. In fact, a few years ago, Aura had to cut the marketing budget by 10%. And while they were afraid of the aftermath, they found out that nothing changed and sales didn't drop. They experimented with even more marketing budget cuts, and only after cutting more than 50%, they noticed an effect on their sales. But how was that possible? It's because they literally created a cult that does their marketing for them. Currently, 60% of Aura's new customers come from referrals. And similar to Apple, the Aura community has developed a strong cult around its app and ring.
I know that when I meet someone that wears an Aura ring, I immediately know that we're gonna have at least some level of values in common.
You're gonna talk about sugar.
One thing though that I've started to become obsessed with.
My score.
My sleep score.
My readiness score.
My score.
One of the main drivers for this movement is Aura's Circle feature, which allows users to share selected health data like sleep, readiness, and activity. Many users regularly share their Aura stats publicly on social media and within private groups. By creating scores, Aura has created a personal competition to beat your score from the day before and compete with others. In summary, they have created a social and data-driven user experience, which makes them a social phenomenon. Even celebrities openly talk about tracking their sleep or readiness. For example, Kim Kardashian posting about her Aura sleep score, or Prince Harry wearing the Aura ring on public occasions. This approach is so successful because Aura doesn't have to spend a lot of money on marketing to tell their brand story. Instead, consumers tell their own story by sharing their scores with others. This combination of high retention and high referral rate is the main reason Aura is growing exponentially. So now you know all 7 big strategies that allowed Aura to grow their value from $0 to $10 billion in less than a decade. But not every health brand isn't the place to negotiate partnerships with Gucci or to run a billboard campaign all over New York City. So if you want some more actionable insights that you can apply directly to grow your health brand, watch this video